Hey, yo, it's the Building Downtown. You can follow us on social media at the Building DT. You can follow and subscribe to the show on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, TalkShoe, wherever you get your podcast from. I'm your host, Jason Kelly. You can follow me at JKellyMMA. My co-host, Kirill Kasatskiy at Raps. And my co-host, Amy Barton, can't be with us today, unfortunately, but give her a follow, shout out, contact her, harass her, whatever you need to do to make her life more miserable. She's at Ames Bell. So today, we got a guest. I got to run a little bit of promo before we get into him. I'm happy to have him. I've been a fan for a long time. I was a fan of his radio show back in the day. But my main man here, Kirill, is performing this weekend on Robbie G's tour. Robbie G's tour is late at the end of the tunnel. It'll be going down April 23rd at the Onyx Nightclub in Guelph, Ontario. But there's a laundry list of dates from fucking coast to coast in Canada. And the man is here to join us today. Robbie G, how's it going, my man?
Thanks for coming through, bro.
It's going, man. It's going real good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, I appreciate you coming through and giving us some time. I know we were trying to get this done before the tour started. You have done a couple shows so far, right? It has begun. Is that correct?
Yes, we kicked off the tour in Edmonton on Friday, Good Friday. So we did Edmonton, Fort McMurray, and Saskatoon so far.
Right on. How'd it turn out? How was it? How was the atmosphere?
Solid turnout so far. Edmonton show was awesome. Great crowd, great energy. Just felt so good to be back on stage in front of people again, you know what I mean? And feeling the appreciation and love from people. So yeah, it was, and being inspired by other artists in the building, you know, and networking. And after that show, I performed upstairs. The venue was like a tiered venue. There's a bunch of venues all in one, and in the basement of it, they had an open mic going. So I went down after that and rapped for like another hour with some homies down there. Shout out to Doug Shells and all the people that were on the mic there. So yeah, just like kept on going. It just feels good to be back, you know what I mean?
So was this a part of your event, or was this just
random on the same night? They have a random open mic hip hop night. I think it's like bi-weekly.
Edmonton gets down like that, huh?
The bottom part of that venue. Oh, Edmonton's huge, right? Like there's so many things. Like there is so many events going on. I think the night that I was there, then I think the night I was there, Slipknot was there.
Holy shit.
You know what I mean? Playing at the arena. So there were some people that showed up from the Slipknot concert that had finished and showed up at this venue here as well, that we're just like down there. So yeah, man, there's always stuff going on. There's always events happening in Edmonton. But yeah, I felt like I needed to go down there and do my thing. And I repped a little bit of raps before I went upstairs and did my gig, and then came back down and did some more with them. And yeah, it was a good vibe for sure.
What about the Light of the Tunnel tour? Are you going coast to coast? Is it all the way from BC? Where are you stopping?
So yeah, I started in Alberta. I'm going all of, well, I mean, I'm from BC, so I left from Kelowna. My first show was in Edmonton. Then we did Fort Mac, like I said, Saskatoon, and then we're off into Ontario after this. Thunder Bay's the next show, and then we got Sault Ste. Marie, Sudbury, and then down into southern Ontario, and then we go all the way to the east coast as far as like Cape Breton, up to Sydney, and Dartmouth near Halifax there, and then all the way across the country to the west coast, all the way to the island, doing a few dates on the island, yeah, and then back to my home.
And all this is driving? You're doing driving, or what are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, I travel with quite a bit of merchandise, and
you bring your own shit to the shows,
like equipment. You mean? Yeah.
I mean, equipment's pretty light, to be honest. All we got is like microphones and, you know, my laptop or whatever I'm running music off of for the evening. But you know, it's not so equipment and, you know, mics and whatnot. It's not too crazy, but yeah, lots of merchandise, lots of sweaters and t-shirts and that kind of stuff. So
I guess
right on. So what's your setup like? The reason I'm asking this, I saw one of the funkiest ones ever. I'm assuming you know who Nems is.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I saw a video recently. Nems has a pickup truck with it's a big ass one, probably like a Ford F-350 type thing with a big ass bed. And in the back, he's got it layered. So in the bottom, there's drawers with hats, so that way the hats don't get squashed. And then he's got t-shirts in the other drawers. He's got hoodies and all kinds of shit, right? I'm sure not too many people are doing something like that. That's just something that, you know, that adds to his marketing. But for you, what do? Just set up a booth at the venue? Or what's your method for when selling on site?
Yeah, setting up a booth at the venue. Always like to be near the front of the building so I can see everyone as they come in and say peace to them when they head out. Yeah, so just setting up there. I mean, I've sold merch right out the back of the whip too, though.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. I used to, back in the day, I used to be a pizza delivery driver, and I used to roll up on people and just be like, yo, buy my CD. Or even when they're getting the pizza, I'm like, yo, buy my CD. You know what I mean?
That's
So,
awesome.
I mean, that's grinding.
always trying to hustle and get it out.
Aside, sorry, go ahead, Kirill.
I was just gonna ask, because for me, like, I'm not too familiar with Canadian underground. I'm just starting to get into it the last couple of years because I myself switched to English, right? How many have you done anything like this before, where you were on a tour of your own?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've done headlining tours. This is probably like my 5th or 6th headlining tour across the country. So a lot of the places that I'm visiting, I've been there before. There's a couple new markets that I've never been to, but for the most part, I've been to everywhere at least once or twice, or sometimes 5 or 6 times. Yeah, so this is
This isn't new to you, right?
What cities have surprised you the most in the past with us, the serious hip hop scene? The reason I ask is Thunder Bay surprised me. I've been to a lot of battle rap shit, and like they have battle rappers that go there from the States and put on just concerts, not even do battles. Right. So, and that surprised me. Have you came across some cities in your career where you're like, shit, I didn't know they get down like this out here?
Yeah, I mean, we just experienced that the other night in Fort Mac. Like, it was super dope. I expected it to be, not too popping, because it was like, Easter weekend, and I'm in Fort McMurray. I've never played there before, and the bar was packed, and the artists that were on the show killed it, and it was just a really good vibe, and they bought a ton of merch, and just it really did blow me away. I was like, this is crazy. Nice. I sold more merch at that show than I do at shows with, bigger artists that I'm opening for with like thousands of people. And so, yeah, it kind of blew me away. But yeah, I mean, Thunder Bay's dope for sure. Shout out to Thunder Bay. Lot of dope MCs there. We're heading there tomorrow, and should be a good time. And yeah, there's a good battle rap scene there.
Mm-hmm.
Good support. I was blown away with the amount of artists that hit me up in Thunder Bay to get on the show that I did there. Usually it's hard to find artists to get on, and this time I had to like turn down 3 or 4 artists because there was just
see what I'm saying, right? That's so surprising to me. I would not think Thunder Bay is a place that's a hip hop spot, right?
Yeah,
right. It's weird. Go ahead.
Before there's so many questions, right? Before we steer up the tour a bit, I was gonna ask you. You said you got somebody else with you driving. Who is it? Do you have your DJ with you, or is it your
my homie? One of my homies. His name's Bruce. So he's holding it down on behind the wheel and making sure that I get to from
get everywhere safe,
nice and safe. He's just doing one leg with me, and then I've got some other people that are taking on different legs with me. But yeah, I mean, just it's good to have somebody to roll with.
Yeah,
one, and then it's good to have someone to take control of the wheel for a bit, because I got a lot of business to take care of. I do a lot of stuff booking artists and tours across the country, so trying to maintain that and keep that business going, and keep shows happening and stuff, and continue to book for myself while at the same time being on the road and promoting these shows that are going on. So it's good to have time to just do my thing, and we chop it up and listen to music, listen to podcasts. And
I was gonna say, it must be dope driving through the country, right? Going to shows of your own, and you got your homie with you, right?
Yeah,
that's dope. That sounds like a lot of fun, man. Aside from your own tour, I've heard because I was around about you here, some people, right? And they told me you've brought some artists here. I've heard you brought Wu-Tang around here.
Yeah.
Who else did you work with, and how was that?
Lots of different artists.
And where sorry, I got just what I mean, too many fucking questions.
His mind's overloading.
Where did you bring Wu-Tang to? Which city was that?
That was to Kitchener.
That was to Kitchener, so it was here. And fuck, I missed it somehow too. Must have been before I knew English properly or something.
What year would that have been?
2019, I think, or 20.
Holy shit, that recently, eh?
Just before the pandemic, yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember that concert going down too, and I remember everyone online being like, "Wu-Tang ain't fucking showing up, Wu-Tang," because I was on the fence if I should buy tickets or not, and I'm sure some of these people are mutual friends like that we both know, because I know some of them like they definitely know you, right? And talking to them, but they never mentioned that you were part of it. And I was like, so like, but they're more into like the music scene around here. So I'd be like, how realistic is it? And they're like, it's looking pretty realistic. But then I'd see 10 other people that don't know fuck all, right? Say, they ain't coming. I was like, I'm not wasting my money on a ticket. And then I found out pretty much like a good amount of them showed up, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say
It wasn't all
I mean,
9, but
yeah, well, unfortunately Method Man didn't show up. He was
that's who it was. Yeah. But
and that's not any fault of ours or theirs or
Yeah.
whatever. It was Method Man had some movie that he had to go do in New York, and like on that tour he was in Kelowna, I think the day before with Wu-Tang doing the whole show, and then for the Kitchener show he didn't show up, and then I think the next date he didn't show up, and then the date after that he was back on the tour, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
that can happen sometimes when you're booking a super group with 9
Fuck
fucking
yeah.
members.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that's a lot of people.
It's unfortunate because he's like my favorite member in the group. And
yeah, I think a lot of people probably feel that way.
How was that? How was the
looking forward to-
turnout? Was the show live? Was it good? I don't know how I missed it. I've been sober now for almost 2 years, so I must have been somewhere on the verge there where I missed it because I never even heard of it.
Yeah, no, it was live. It was good. It was an outdoor event. We had about
Yeah.
4,000 or so people there. So it
Oh
was pretty good.
shit!
Yeah, Bingaman's, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forget what the venue's called. There's something on the Grand. On the Grand, I think it is.
Yeah. You put in a lot of work around here. Are you from the Waterloo region, or are you from out west?
Guelph.
You're from Guelph. So why did you take off out west? Was it to do with music, just a personal thing, or?
Both. You know, it's a beautiful. Have you been out west at all?
No,
or-
I haven't. I've heard it's fucking gorgeous, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you go out there, it's kind of hard to,
Okay.
you know, not want to stay out there. It's really beautiful. The mountains are just
I was gonna say the
breathtaking.
mountains must be nice. I've seen mountains in California. I still want to visit BC, but it's
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, like the closest thing to California in Canada is Kelowna.
Yeah.
It just has a really nice vibe there. You can go to the beach, you can go golfing, you can go snowboarding all in the same day. You could like, it's so much cool stuff. There's lots of wineries and, you know, distilleries and breweries and stuff like that. Lots of venues, big music scene. It's just a good vibe, and like all over BC. And I'll say this is like, I did a lot of work in Ontario. Like you said, if you're hearing like people said I put on events or did this and that there, it's like I've done a ton of work in Ontario and kind of set up some music scenes there and created, you know, scenes in cities that there never were music scenes. Like in Guelph, like those types of artists or you know, they wouldn't come there, and that's why people doubt that it would even happen. You know, we booked like Sean Paul or Akon or Nelly or whatever at you know, these big venues in Guelph and around the area, and you know, sometimes people would think like, oh, that show's not happening or whatever, but it's sold out and the artist shows up and rocks it, and it's dope, right? So I did a lot to just like build scenes there and help with other artists that were touring across Canada from the West Coast or the East Coast, whether it be like Mercules or Snack or Classified or anybody that was coming through that I could help out or get them a date somewhere or touring or whatever. Mocha Only, Evil Ebenezer, some homies, you know. So just doing that, building the scene there in Ontario, and now getting a chance to kind of build it on the West Coast, and help facilitate more shows and things to do out there. So and find markets like Fort McMurray that you know, I've never been to before, and now is probably going to be a city that I'm going to come to quite often because the love was real, and I feel like I can definitely build there and make it a really popping spot. So yeah, I mean, just steady finding new opportunities in other parts of the country, and then once I kind of get established a little bit more here on the West Coast and do a few more events and kind of get the ball rolling that way, I'll probably be moving towards down south and doing events in the States, because I just put my paperwork in to get a waiver to cross into the state.
I saw you post about that on social media. I was like, I don't know if I should bring that up or if I should just shut my fucking mouth about that one.
I'm pretty open, man, and I'm open in my music. All the stuff's there. It's all on paper. You can Google anything if you want about me to know what happened or whatever. But yeah, I was, you know, young and dumb and sold drugs and doing things that I, you know, probably shouldn't have been doing. But
yeah, it happens, man. It fucking happens.
Do
but yeah, eventually hopefully within the next 3 to 4 months, I'll find out if I get my waiver. And if that happens, then I think it's going to really open up a lot of doors for me to get into the States and start building in those markets. So
yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
And
one
that's a
second.
big thing too, crossing the border. It's not, and I don't mean legally, but if you can make your music work on the other side of the border as a Canadian, in a way, like you can definitely, there are artists in all genres of music who have made a good living. I mean, look at like a Tragically Hip. I'm friends with a lot of Americans. I don't think I've met one yet that knows who the Tragically Hip are, right? Yeah, no shit. And they're huge here, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
realistically, is that the way you kind of think? You know, if you can make things work on the other side of the border as well as here, that's when you really start seeing some fruits from your success.
Yeah, I mean, Canada represents a very small pie
Yeah.
in the world music sales. And I think even just English speaking music represents a small pie in
True.
music sales. Like, but as far as, yeah, I mean, like there's artists in Canada that are like that, like Classified. He's
Mhm.
really well known in Canada, probably wouldn't be able to tour the States, or maybe he could, or maybe some parts of Europe, but it would be a lot less than what he normally draws
For
in
sure.
Canada. And he's kind of okay to just stay up here and tour as much as he wants and have a good living and do, like, he doesn't
work
want to
out.
expand too much, right? But
Yep.
I feel like, yeah, a lot of artists that have been blowing up are artists from Canada that have been moving to the States and kind of capitalizing on that, on the market there, and getting more integrated with the music scene down there. They're doing really successfully.
No,
You know, Canadian artists, the two that come to my mind the most, and that I reference a lot, that have inspired me a lot, is Tom McDonald and Dax. Those two
Mm.
guys really have done a lot in terms of like making music and then going down to the States and linking with different producers down there, and just people, and
Yeah, they're doing it big these days.
the music industry.
They're doing it big these days, Dax and Tom McDonald's.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, now that you are doing a tour of your own, you're going to, now that you're hitting Ontario. I was talking to a couple of friends of mine recently, and they were saying, like, obviously big cities stay the same, like Toronto and places like that, right? But I've heard a couple of my friends say and agree that nightlife, sort of like small club performance scene, is being squeezed out of these areas. It turns into either a sports bar or like a big club or a venue, you know what I mean? There's no little small spots where culture could live, really. Do you agree with that? Do you find that? Because, like, I have no idea. That's why I'm asking, because you're hitting different spots in Ontario now. Do you find it hard to find a small enough venue where it's where you can have maybe a couple hundred, few hundred people, and not where you have to have like a couple thousand people or like 5 or 10, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, having proper venues has always been a struggle for musicians everywhere, I think, other than in markets and in cities that have a big infrastructure for it, like Nashville or stuff like that, like music centric places.
But like, even, sorry for stopping you, but like even Kitchener, they were saying Kitchener, and around here they're saying that
Hard.
there were a lot more spots. They're saying that, say, 10 years ago there were a lot more spots to go perform, release your
Yeah.
mixtape or whatever, draw a little crowd. Right now it seems like it's pretty much fucking impossible.
Yep, totally. Kitchener and Waterloo as a whole has been hard for a while. I'm coming
Always
out
been a
there
thing.
to play at Maxwell's in Waterloo on May 4th, which I'm really excited about. That's one of my favorite venues to play at in the country. And you know, it's one of the dopest spots there. And luckily they have a kind of a venue that you can do a small room or a big room, and you know, that works. But most places it's either like a small dive bar or like big 1,000-person venue or whatever, right? So
Maxwell is fairly big too, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, their small room holds about 200, the big room holds about 500, and then they can open up both of them to hold about 700.
Okay,
Shit,
nice.
that's a decent venue. I haven't
Yeah,
been
we're
in
gonna
there
have
since it
to
used to be
come
Dooley's, the
through.
pool hall. But I remember how big that was, right?
Dooley's was big, yeah.
Yeah. So I just never knew what the setup was like inside Maxwell.
We're
So
gonna
that's
have to
cool that
come
they have
through
a
and check
smaller
you out.
room.
Yeah, I've never been to Maxwell. We're gonna have to come through and check you out on
Yeah,
May
yeah,
4th.
for sure. When was the last time you performed? I mean, not virtually, like in front of Fitz. Oh, and not on this tour. Like, because obviously the pandemic fucking up things for everyone. Did you have to sit on the sidelines for a little while as well?
Yeah, I mean, I fucking went hard, you know what I mean? I didn't really let it stop me too much. I toured a bit during the pandemic, both years, in 2020 and in 2021.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, the last tour that I did was in September. of 2021. So that was about 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Right on. And what is it like, putting, obviously you're not fucking Sony Records, right? So how much of your own money do you put up, or do you find investors, or is it like pay as you go type thing? Like, how do you set up an independent tour like this?
Multiple different ways. I mean, for myself, I kind of like run the majority of my business and take care of a lot of different things. I've got a manager and an agent and everybody else that kind of helps, but yeah, the majority is self-funded and like
It's
put
all
on.
you, right?
I book everything and I set things up. I have partners and people that I deal with and different people in different markets, or if there's a bigger show that I'm trying to put on in different places, I'll work with a partner and an investor that makes sense for that show, obviously. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, this is kind of just a dream that I had, and I'm just following through with it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it happening though? Sorry, is it
No, go ahead.
happening? Is it, are you making a living of this yet?
Yeah, I mean, for the last few years at least.
That's
It
good. That's good for you, man.
took a while to get there, but yeah, I mean, and it was obviously a little interesting over the last couple of years with COVID, but I still managed to do pretty well, just staying connected with my fans, selling a lot of merch online, and
That's what I was gonna ask you. One of my next questions was gonna be, what do you find is the best way to spread with your music? Because I've rapped in Russian for a long time. Right now, I'm gonna be a little selfish and talk to you, pick your brain, because you've been doing this for a while around here. So what do you find the best way to spread with your music is when you release something new, or where you plan to release something new? Do you go by trying to get features and try to cross over to those markets, to those fans through the people, or do you try to invest into internet marketing of some sort, or what do you do? What are the steps that you take that you see that seem to work for you?
I mean, you can look at what I do and you can kind of surmise what it is. What do you think? I won't even answer the question, and I'll say, based on what you've seen me do and the things that I've done and what you see popping up in your feeds and stuff, what do you think I do?
I mean, I think you stay grinding, and it seems like you're doing a lot of things. It's hard to pinpoint. That's why I'm asking which.
But in particular with the two things that you just mentioned,
I
as
think you
in
do.
doing
You do.
features in internet marketing.
You seem to be heavy on the internet. That's for sure.
Heavy on the internet and features as well, right?
And,
Like,
and features too,
Mm.
right? Because that's.
yeah, I mean, I've
And
slowed down a little bit. I used to be super heavy on the features. I've slowed down a little bit, but I've got some in the bag that I'm pretty excited about releasing soon.
What about the internet? Have you figured that out? Do you have people helping you? Because it seems like wherever I throw the money, it's either a scam that gives you views that are either fake, or you know what I mean? Like you can tell that it's not real,
Mhm.
or it's you just throw money and nothing happens. You know what I mean? I'm trying different ways.
Or
and
there's a
different
small
ways.
surge and then it goes away. It's not like you're gaining anything that's going to stick around. We've noticed that as well.
Go ahead.
So you got to focus more on building relationships instead of building numbers. I think a lot of artists focus on like trying to get their YouTube videos super high or their Instagram numbers high or whatever. Like, I can tour the country and I don't need to have 100,000 followers on Instagram, and I don't need to have videos that are hitting 1 million views. I just need to have good connections with people and leave a solid impression and an impact on people when I go and see them in person, and make
But you need to get to
relationships
a
with people.
point where you see people in person. You need to sell the tickets somehow, right? So you need to get.
Online is one way, obviously, but you're a person, right? You're personable, and the way that you connect with people is through talking to them. If you're going to make a fan, like, you'd be surprised how many fans you can make off of just your circle, your inner circle. You know what I mean? If you work a 9 to 5 job, or if you work in a factory, or if you go to school, or if you do anything in fucking life, you're
Mhm.
going to be talking to 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 people at
Yeah,
least every
of
week,
course.
unless you're like a fucking a hermit who stays in your home and just plays video games and eats ketchup
Yeah.
chips and doesn't do anything and talk to people. You know what I mean? But even those people can fucking live stream and connect with millions of people online if they actually do that too. It's what
Oh,
you
for
put
sure,
your
for sure.
mind to, right? So, like, if you have friends around you, if you just have people around you, you are promoting every day. Every day you're telling people about your music, and you're like, I'm at the gas station pumping gas and being like, yo, you look like you listen to hip hop. Here's a CD. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you make fans. That person is probably going to check out that album and then go and look me up. But like, if I didn't have that album tangible in my hand to give him, or if I don't have something online for them to go and check out, then they've got nothing. You've got that already. You've got some shit popping. I don't know if you have like merchandise or CDs or any kind of like hard copy stuff to give people, but like, it all comes down to making connections with people.
You're on some Hollywood grind, man. The last time I've seen, or the only time I've seen somebody do that was on Hollywood, with the Walk of Fame.
Walk of Fame?
Where the stars are on the floor, you know what I mean? I was there just checking it out, and some guy ran up to me. He's like, man, here's my CD. Check this out. So he hands me the CD. I'm holding it, and he's talking about the CD. Boom, 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 boom. So he loaded me with his information, and he's like, that would be $7. I'm like, what?
A guy put that on me in Las Vegas.
I'm standing there holding the CD, right? I'm like, I gave him $7 just for the presentation, right? Like, yeah, I went to the car and I threw the CD on and I listened to it. But the way he was grinding, it was amazing.
Yeah,
you
man.
Know what I mean? So you're on some of that shit, and that's nice. That's good. That's, you know what I mean? And that's why I'm talking to people like you too, to pick something up. Honestly, for me, like you said, if you notice something I'm doing, I've been doing it in Russian for a long time, and it's very hard for me to buy a $1,600 ticket just to go perform there a few times. You know what I mean? Try to build something. So I switched to English, and right now what I've done is just spit a bunch of shit off my chest. I haven't done nothing with it. You know what I mean? I've shot a few videos, and right now, like, I've reached out to you for the tour, and thanks for having me there. Thanks for letting me come through, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, no problem.
You said like in Thunder Bay, obviously you got so many applicants to open for you, right? And you had to turn some people away. And I'm sure everywhere you get enough applicants, but all the years you've been doing this, you had to have came across some just fucking terrible shit. No?
I mean, come on. Yeah, I mean, I go through some submissions. I have my manager go through submissions. And yeah, I mean, you get people who are just starting music, you know, and like have recorded 2 or 3 songs, and they're like, hey, I want to get on a show. And I mean, if they don't really have too much backing or anything, and like have never done anything, it's hard to put them on. But I mean, I'm open to have anybody that looks like they've got heart and cares about it and wants to be a part of this. I was like that at one point too. I was the artist that just wanted to get on, and I used to hit up artists or like promoters and be like, hey man, can I get it on a show or whatever? And most of the times it'd be like, no, fuck you. Like,
yeah.
We don't put on local openers. We just book headliners, and that's it. That used to be the way it used to be for a lot of shows. I feel like I helped change things, and shout outs to Peter Jackson, who also had a lot to do with this, and other promoters and stuff. And to a point, it got too much, like where promoters were putting on way too many opening acts, and it took away from the show. But you need to have that ability to get better, and you can only do that through stage time and experience, and being on the stage, being in front of people and getting exposed to new fans. And like, you know, like I said, I was a person just trying to get on before, and nobody wanted to let me on. So now when I'm in the opportunity in the position too, where I have the ability to have a venue, have a stage, have some fans that are coming out already, you know, I'm gonna, of course, make that opportunity possible for younger MCs coming up. I pray that I never get to the point where I'm like so too cool for school and just, like, don't want to have any. I've already sold out the venue myself. I don't care about having local openers on. Like, you know what I mean? I really truly hope that I still maintain that.
No, it's a beautiful thing you're doing, and the way you're doing it by having local artists in the different places, different artists. That's great. You know what I mean? The networking is what I'm looking for, the most networking, maybe some stage time, but you know what I mean? And not to brag, but I got enough experience on the stage. I'm not tripping about that at all, but networking is great. Like meeting you, maybe meeting somebody else there. Mm-hmm. I don't know if getting features are coming out of this or something, but networking, you know what I mean? Meeting other people, seeing what they're doing, because like I said, I'm pretty old, but I'm just starting my English thing, right? So
did you ever have a mentor on the business side of this shit? Or someone to look up to or bounce questions off or anything?
Did I mentor other people?
No, did you ever have a mentor? I think right now, like exactly what you said you did here in the 519 area, what you're attempting to do at West in the near future, you're trying to build the scene, improve the scene for everyone. Now, you may not be mentoring people right now, but how could you not be somewhat of a mentor? And I'm sure if people reach out to you, ask them questions. So I think that answers itself, right? But for you having this attitude, this approach, was there someone that you had ahead of you? Because obviously you got told to go eat shit a bunch of times, like anyone trying to come up, right? You get doors slammed in your face, you get told no, you get told you won't make it, all these negative things. Obviously, you didn't listen to them, you've overcome them, and you're giving back. So was there a person or two along your way that looked out for you, gave you a hand, you could bounce questions off, or was it more negative and there was none of that?
No, 100%. I just mentioned one of them earlier, PJ, Peter
Yeah.
Jackson. He's another artist in Canada here who's helped pave the way for me and helped his company. I've worked with it for many years on booking different shows and tours across Canada, and he's helped be a real mentor in the game, and like I ask questions, and I tour with a lot of people too, though. I try and like book shows and then get in the vehicle with different people. Like I was just touring with Greaves and got a chance to pick his brain a little bit. He's an artist from the States. I tour a lot with like Mad Child, taking tons of advice from Mocha, Evil, Mercules, Snack, all the people that I've like had a chance to tour with. I always will pick their brain, and I used to interview a lot of people too, like what you guys are doing, like on the radio show.
Yep.
With my podcast now, which I've still got a bunch of episodes that I'm going to be releasing and recording some more when I get back home. But I've so just picking other people's brains, and then I watch a lot of stuff too, right? Like online, there's so much information, and like there's so many interviews, right? Every single one of your favorite artists has 5, 10, 15, 20 solid interviews where they're like dropping gems of advice, whether it be on the business side of things or like what they're doing outside of music. And sometimes the plays that you make outside of music can help your music career even more than you just focus just solely on music. Like I've seen businessmen, entrepreneurs in this music industry really make moves that strategically place them in positions that will help their career exponentially, where other artists are just focused on like putting the track out and worrying about getting in the studio to record another song, and other people are like, no, what are you going to actually do with that song, and how can you make a brand deal with a big sponsorship or a corporate entity that can help push you, or how you can partner with somebody else, or how you can make a relationship with an artist to like take it to the next level. There's so many different things that like on the business end of things that people just don't focus on too much, and I feel like are fucking essential. But yeah, I mean, in terms of mentorship, I draw off everybody, man. Everybody, like the artists that I've worked with and I had the chance to tour with and get in the studio with, even just spending time in the studio. Engineers too. I was just in Edmonton working with my main engineer Nato, who does a lot of my mixing and mastering, and just being in the booth with him and having him mentor me and be like, yo, do it like this or say it like that or whatever. You need people like that in your life that are not going to be yes men and just say, hey, everything that you do is dope. They'll give you some constructive criticism to like build and get better. Yeah, so I would say, yeah, all those people. And then my parents, my family, yeah, anybody, even friends. My main creative manager Bird has been a huge mentor, helping me out along the way with creative things and getting videos out, and so
And that's
all
sorry,
those,
go ahead.
all those people.
Yeah. So like, it's great to have that, be able to soak up that from everyone that give you positive stuff, but obviously it's inevitable. You're going to get negative stuff. How do you have you tuned that out over your career to get to the point you're at now? Because let's face it, we hear about like these hip hop stories, these legends, like, a Jay-Z comes from a single parent home, poverty, this, that, whatever. That's its own obstacles. But white dude from Guelph, Ontario, right, making it in a hip hop culture, right, like that comes with its own obstacles as well. So how have you tuned out that negative shit to get to a peaceful mind state and stick to what you need to do to get to the point you're at now?
Blinders, like just focused on what I want, and I'm confident in myself, and I love myself. Like I think that's so important, and I gotta preach on it. And Gary V was just saying this in a post the other day. He was saying, the biggest obstacles and hurdles that people come up against are all related to the fact that they don't love themselves enough. And it's like, once you love yourself enough, like the hate and shit doesn't really matter, because there's some people can say whatever they want about me, but as long as I know who I am, and what I'm
Mhm.
capable of and what I can do. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks that I can do, or thinks that I can't do, or thinks that I am, or whatever. Like, a lot of people create false perceptions about people too. And like,
Yep.
we'll hear stories, and telephone is a real thing. One person will say this thing to another person, will say it
Yeah.
to another person. All of a sudden you're like, I fucking killed somebody or something. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, no. Like they'll be like, oh, you went to jail, or why? Because of this. And then somebody will say that or this, and then it's a completely different story than what it actually was. You know what I mean? So that's just an example of it. But like, there's so much like haters and people who comment negative things. 9.99999 times out of 10, it's because they're struggling with their own insecurities. They're
For
sad
sure.
about their own life. They're pissed off because they didn't make it in whatever endeavor that they were trying to go after. They're just miserable. They're miserable people. And like, I
Yeah.
always tell them that they're fucking, when you point a finger, 3 or 20 pointing literally right back at you, and you're trying, like, it's a reflection of who you are. And that's why I try myself to not be a hater. And I feel weird when I hear people with hater energy around me. When I hear people start talking negatively about somebody else, I'm like, what are you doing?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah. And it's
unless you have
It's like,
like a genuine, unless there's like a genuine thing, like this person did something super
yep.
bad, or just like they're an awful human being, or they're treating people like shit and like whatever, like, okay, fucking sure, hate on them if you want, I guess. But even that doesn't make any sense, because why spend your time on it? Like,
Exactly. It's easier to if it's that instance, it's easier just to be like, fuck that guy and move on with your life.
what
Right?
this
So
is
much easier.
main thing I wanted, my point to make about this too, is like, small minds talk about, I forget what it is, what the saying is, but like events, or people,
People, yeah. Big
and
minds.
I
Yeah.
talk about ideas and
Yep.
and goals and like aspirations. And if I'm chilling in a room with my homies, I would much rather be talking about like, what are we building towards? What is the next
Right.
move? What is the next
Right.
play that we can work on? Not chop it up about how fucking this person did this
Yeah.
shit
This chick's fucking this dude and this guy's that. And yeah.
on some weird complainer hater shit. It just like, it breeds a fucking culture of just like,
Toxic.
oh, it's so toxic, bro.
Yeah,
It's
man.
fucking disgusting. And
Absolutely.
you can feel that energy when you get around somebody who's like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And these people who are online keyboard warriors who treat people like that in real life, they're like that too. They're just fucking miserable human beings, and it's weird energy and weird vibes to be around. And now I feel like I'm a complainer, because I'm complaining. Let's stop talking about
Shit.
them.
You,
Talk
you
about what
started
I'm
you
doing.
started you started on some deep shit that should have some like hero music in the background, and you're going towards like raging, like I'm gonna fucking kill someone.
No,
anyways,
it's
now
all
No,
good.
that's
Yeah, but
dope
no,
though. That's good.
just let
back
that
to
shit
battle rap.
go and focus
Yeah.
on you and what you're doing. That's the main thing. Yeah.
Right on. Curly, you're gonna say something in there?
No, I was gonna say, what do you think was the was the best way to get in at your features, right? Like, let's say you were back in the day when you were trying to get a feature to get a little more exposure, right? How would you go about it? Do you think do you think you need to have some backing behind you? Do you need to be popping already? Or do you just hit people up and see if they get back at you?
Um,
I mean, obviously any feature is gonna cost money, right? But it's just getting the response, and or how did you go about getting your first big
yeah,
feature?
I would say your best bet if you're trying to work with an artist is to show love to them. There's this artist Tianda. She does wicked videos on TikTok, just like giving advice to artists. And I swear she did and she's an awesome musician too. She's fucking incredible. She's from Edmonton, but she does like these videos and showing advice. And I swear, I think she did one where she was like, if you want to work with an artist, these are the things that you should do. And the number one thing is like, support that artist. So artists see who supports them. You know what I mean? If you're out there sharing that person's music, if you're fucking bumping it, if you're showing it to your friends, if you're commenting on their posts all the time, if you're tagging them in stories, they see that. It pops up in their feed all the time. And if you're an artist wanting to work with another artist, show that artist love. If the first message that they see from you is, yo, bro, you're dope, I want to work with you, they're probably not going to care about it. But if there's 10 messages of you like hitting them up saying how dope they are and fucking you've shared their music a bunch of times, they're way more liable to be like, oh, who is this person that actually supports me and fucks with me and has been fucking with me for years, not just like some guy who just found out about my music and is like, yo, you're dope and I want to use you to get my name higher. You know what I mean? It's like I fall in love with the artists that I work with. I am in love with the artists that I work with. I'll say that. Like, and that you know, that might sound weird, but whatever. I'm a fan of this shit. I love hip hop and I'm a fan of the artists that I'm working with. So like
That's what I'm looking for still, to get that feature that of somebody that I'm really a fan of. You know what I mean? Like,
so that's what you got to do is like just be that fan of that artist and then also know where you're at. Like if you're a fan of Drake and you want to get a feature with him, good fucking luck. You know? Not happening, buds.
but
But
I mean,
if you work your way up to eventually getting a feature with Drake, or you have as many followers as Drake, and then you say, hey, Drake, you want to fucking work on a record with me and it's going to benefit both of you, then he'll probably be down with it. Maybe. I don't fucking know exactly how he works his business and shit.
Yeah.
But like for an example, and you just got to recognize where you're at. You know what I mean? Like you're always trying to work.
It's sort of, I've had like a little successful Sharon there, you know what I mean? We got to it, we interviewed him, boom, I worked with him. That was a little, you know, he doesn't really make music like that, but I followed his battles and you know what I mean? He gave me a verse. So that was like, and Lush too, you know what I mean? So I felt accomplished there for a second. I was like, yeah, I got it.
Those are big features for sure. Sharon's a fucking beast, man. That guy is going to be a huge fucking person. He is a genius as it is already, and just the connections that he's made, what he's doing with Wildin' Out and everything is huge. I paid him to do a little video for me that was like he was doing these things where he can like freestyle a whole story if you just give him like a couple words or whatever. I got him to do this whole like freestyle about like fucking of where I'm at as an artist and like how he met me and stuff like that and different things, and it was fucking
wow, that's dope as shit. Yeah, man, Sharon's freestyle ability is fucking crazy. Definitely one of the best of all time. It's hard to say too, right? Because there's been so many legends from like a long time ago, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, whatever. So you don't want to take anything away from them. And there's still some good ones, even up and comers today. But I mean, he's right there in the mix of one of the best to ever do it. His mind is scary the way it works.
There will never be the one, right?
Right.
It can be, but one of for sure.
So I'll ask you this though. How did that feature come about? Because you can answer your own question.
Well, no. I honestly, obviously, I understand that. I was just
but just verbalize it though, so people can hear it. How did you get the feature with Sharon?
All right, no, we started a podcast because we are fans of battle rap, right? And we were just like, how do we get at these rappers? Maybe talk to them, right? And we had the podcast, and we had a little connection to Sharon, so he came on a podcast, and out of that, slowly, I showed him some music and asked him for a feature, and he actually, and he did a very fair deal for me. You know what I mean? It was more than just finding him. Excuse me. It was more than if I just were to find him and throw some money at him and get the feature, right? So because I sort of built a relationship with him, like Sharon knows who I am. I got a feature from him. You know what I mean? It's so you were completely right, and I got the same answer that I already knew, that you have to build a relationship, you have to show love. Yeah.
Be a fan first. You literally said it. I was a fan first. You know what I mean? Sorry, hang on one second. There's someone.
No, it's all good.
Hello, is this Mike? Hello. It's you. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I'll get that switched up soon. Okay. Okay. Bye. What was I gonna say?
Being a fan.
Yeah, being a fan first. That's what you said. You said it right. You said we started as fans and we wanted to reach out to these battle rappers, and then that's how you create the relationship, and then build it from there and figure out whatever that person's asking for. But yeah, I mean, once you build the relationship, you're probably going to get a better deal than if you didn't. And
it wasn't even about the deal. The deal was great too. Yeah, he definitely did a fair deal for me. But it's also that this guy that I watched battle rap and I admired for the bars and everything, right? Actually knows who I am and did me this verse, and then like I got his phone number and his email and shit, you know what I mean? So it was like a little like legit fan moment, right? I was like, shit,
Yeah.
this was cool.
Yeah. And most artists are like that if you approach them in the right way. You know what I mean? You obviously approached them in the right way. So that's how you get it. So then you use that to land the next one. You know what I mean? The next person that you're trying to work with, you form that relationship with them. And then when you're trying to, I build the message properly. If I'm trying to reach out to an artist that I'm like really serious about working with, I'll be like, these are the tracks that I've done with this person or this person. And if they go and look at the tracks and they're like, oh shit, that's a legit artist and this song sounds pretty good, then it's a no-brainer for them. Like, oh fuck, all right, cool, I'll do a track with this guy because he seems like he's actually legit and looks like he's fucking working at it. And you just let each feature build off each one until you get, you know, your dream features or whatever, the top guys that you've always wanted to work with, which I'm still working to get there myself.
I really like and understand what you're saying, so maybe I can show you some features that I've done with some people. You know?
That's your pitch.
Send me a message, man. Send me a message.
No, I will definitely like to talk about that maybe down the road a bit after the show and everything.
100%.
I lost the thought there. I was gonna say something about the Guelph and the Kitchener show. What are you doing between the Guelph? So you're gonna be in Guelph on the 23rd, and
May 4th.
And then May 4th in Kitchener. What are you doing in between? Are you doing shows in between?
Yeah, it's a 30-day tour, and there's, you know, off days on like Mondays and Tuesdays, and that's about it. So
you're knocking off every day, huh?
Pretty much, yeah, every day. So I mean, once I get down into Southern Ontario, it's Guelph on Saturday, and then I'm in Hamilton on Sunday. Got 2 off days, and then in Toronto, then Toronto, Owen Sound, London, Windsor, and then I get 2 off days, and then the show in Waterloo there, and then I do start heading out east after that.
It's funny, eh? Like someone that's you know, that doesn't do music at all, but thinks like it'd be crazy. It's so much fun to be a rock star. You're just living carefree and all this shit. But we have so many rappers on here and shit, right? Like that is fucking work. You're non-stop fucking working. And when you're not working, you're on your way to your next place of work, right? Like if people think and I've said this to a few different guests, it's like that Cypress Hill song, So You Want to Be a Rap Superstar? Right. And it's like there's so much fucking work that goes into this shit, because you know what I mean? As much fun as you're gonna have doing this, it is work. It's 100% work. For the 30 days, you do not fucking stop moving.
Yeah.
How often do you like you're going say back to back to back to back before you get the days off, couple days off there, right? How often is it that you wake up and you're like, fuck, I gotta do this again? You know what I mean? And then you take it, or is the spark still there? Because I feel like right now I'm at a point where I'm say stage hungry, right? If I had, you'd probably give me 60 days back to back, I'd probably plow through it. You know what I mean? But because you've done it so much, is the spark still there, or do you like when you're on a third day, let's say you're like, fuck, this is like going back to factory?
Never that. No, I love this shit, man.
So the spark is still there.
I live for live music. I live for being on the road and being able to meet fans face to face and traveling to new places. I really enjoy traveling. Like I do. I love seeing nature, wildlife. We saw like fucking the dopest snow owl the other day. Like, wow. You don't see an owl. Like owls are so fucking rare. We saw 2 elk across the road the other day. You know what I mean? Like I've seen bears. I've seen fucking eagles flying above me. Like so many cool things. It just, you know, beautiful views too, lakes and just amazing terrain and hills and valleys and just all that stuff I really enjoy too. I mean, the hardest part of it is just like, you know, not getting much sleep, not eating properly, not having my proper workout regimen or like a routine that I usually would have at home. But
what happens to food? Do you eat out constantly or?
Yeah, I mean, like we just ordered some pizza when we got here because we don't have time for anything else. You know what I mean? It's just like you get here, get a quick bite to eat. I'm on this interview. As soon as I'm done this, I'm chatting with my brother from Bali for like an hour or so, and then I call my wife and then pass out and drive the next day. You know what I mean? It's like every second is there's something happening, something going on, and yeah, tight timeline. So yeah, you're not eating great. And normally I would be jogging during the day or working out, and I really don't have time for that when we have 8-hour drives and a show at night that takes 6-7 hours to do, and then you get back to the room and you crash and wake up and do it all again.
Do you find that fucks with your mind at all, or even your body during performances, that you're not getting the exercise and the nutrition that you usually do if you're at home?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I could do it where I only had 1 or 2 shows every week, you know, I could probably maintain the workout schedule or whatever, but you wouldn't be able to survive on the road doing the week and taking a bunch of off days and just paying for hotels and not doing any shows. That'd be weird.
I was gonna say you'd have to fly back and forth or some shit, right? It would have to be some
Which I
shows.
mean, some people can do that, and I've seen artists getting successful at being able to do that and kind of create however they want to do their tour routing. But for me, this works the way that it is, and I've kind of got used to it. I got my body used to it. It's obviously different now because I was a touring machine before. I was doing about 100 shows every year. Yeah, with a lot.
What the fuck, man? That's a lot.
Yeah,
chop it up off camera if you don't mind. Maybe you can give me a little guidance.
Damn, man.
Yeah. So, and a lot of those are like my own events that I'm putting on. You know what I mean? My company is setting those up, and then I'm on it.
If this is your fifth or so, sorry for stopping. Were you gonna say something else?
No.
If this is your fifth or so, right? So, do you tour every time you drop a release, or how do you decide when you go on tour?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely drop a tour every time I drop a release. 100%.
How often do you drop? Do you do it once
every
a year?
year?
Once
every
a
year.
And
every year a new album. Every year a new album. I wrote a book during the pandemic, so that came out. I'm going to write another book.
What's the name of the book?
Put that out. It's called Rapper's Guide to an Enlightened Mind.
Where can people get it?
On my website is the best way, robbieghiphop.com.
So it's out now?
Yes, it's out, and I just sold out the first batch is sold out, but I'm
good for you, man. Congratulations.
I'm in Winnipeg, and I'm picking up a new batch of books to take out on tour with me here. My printer actually is in Winnipeg.
Nice. I would assume that books are nowadays just like the music, you'd buy a digital thing.
You can totally get a digital version. You can buy a digital version or an audio book. I recorded the book in audio version as well, so people can get that.
But I mean, I guess Vinny Paz still saying selling vinyl. He was saying, right? So
you got a lot of fucking things going on, man. Like a lot.
Hustling.
You're everywhere with it. That's good though. Is there any one thing that you would, at all these things that you do and you're passionate about, is there one that if the right deal came along, you'd give up all the others if you had to?
Well, not really. I do things that I love. All of it is stuff that I love. So,
somebody came to you, if Jay-Z came to you tomorrow and was like, listen, I'm going to give you a fucking $1 billion contract. Actually, $1 billion is ridiculous. You'd probably quit a lot of things for that. But you know what I mean? To give you a ridiculous contract, but I don't want you podcasting. I don't want you doing management. I don't want you doing any other things. You're just rapping. Would you be able to step away from everything else?
I mean, I think that's such an unrealistic.
I know, that's why at first when I said $1 billion, I was like, "Fuck, come on now."
Somebody's going to pay me $1 billion for any of the talents that I do, and the other talents that I do will also happen and make me more money as well. So, or whatever, and it's not really money. I would do this shit. I would do this shit if I wasn't making anything, and I was doing this shit when I wasn't making anything. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody gave me $1 million tomorrow to record an album, I would still be touring and doing shows, you know, and doing the same thing that I'm doing. I would just have more money and maybe a nice tour bus. You know?
What about this one? Is there anything that you, out of all these things that you do, is there anything that you still haven't started but would like to?
I want to, as big long-term goals, I want to own a winery. I want to own a cannabis store. I want to own a bar, like a lounge venue type thing, and own it to an extent, like set it up, get it curated, and then have management be able to take care of it, and me
franchise it.
run it from a bit from a distance, but still be involved in it. And I'd love to, do some sort of food business as well, whether it's like some sort of a shop or a restaurant chain of some sort, but that's definitely higher level goals that I have. And
one man army.
is business wise, like take my company to a higher level and create a record label umbrella out of it, start signing artists. I'm already starting the process of that. I've signed one artist and working on signing some more. So
all Canadian,
yeah,
like at this point,
right now,
like the ones you're talking to, yeah, all Canadian.
Yeah, and then helping them kind of.
What's the label name? What are we promoting?
Revolution Media is the company,
Yeah.
so it's Revolution Records is the label.
Is there a website, social media, something?
Yeah, Revolution, like all of my stuff is revmediastudio.com is our website, like the company website. And then our Facebook page, Revolution Media. Yeah, so
just in case
and
anybody wants to check it out.
that's in its infancy, you know what I mean? I'm eventually going to build that bigger. I want to build a whole marketing branch of it as well, and have a branch that just strictly helps with exactly what you were asking about, like how to teach artists how to take it to the next level with their advertising and marketing, and all that kind of stuff.
With the Canadian hip hop scene, we had I don't know exactly how old you are, but I think you're right around our age. And so we had Maestro Fresh West letting his backbone slide, like the late 80s, whatever that was. And then we had some things pop up in the 90s, like your Chocolate, your Cardis, your Infinites, Ghetto Concept, some other ones. There was a little bit of a lull, and then there was like you era Bishop, Drake, people like that came along. But I'm asking you because I'm assuming you're so into this shit, you're probably more in tune with like the newer younger kids making music in Toronto area or anywhere across Canada. When I'm not that in tune with this shit, it's just not for me. A lot of that trap Toronto shit, I guess they call it, something like that. What is the scene like for like the future of hip hop, these up and comers who are starting to make a name for themselves, in your opinion? Is it healthy? Is it good? Is there something missing? Is there a little too much of something? What are your thoughts on this current climate?
I think everyone's gonna make music as they make it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people will gravitate to whatever they gravitate towards. And yeah, I think the climate is great. I think there's a lot of creativity. I think there's a lot of people making wicked music. I think in Canada, there's a ton of people that are taking off and blowing the fuck up, like massively. There's a couple artists that like blew the fuck up on TikTok and shit in the hip hop kind of like.
Really?
TikTok seems to be like, thing.
I don't know if you're familiar with like BB No Money. No.
Yeah, no, I know the name. I just watched something recently where I found out a bunch of names of younger, like the younger generation that's coming up out of Canada, and I didn't know any of them. There was like a guy named Pressure, a bunch of other ones, but yeah, that was one of the names that was on there. So sorry, go on.
He's dope. And like he got 1 billion streams on one of his latest.
Wow.
That's insanity. And then another guy that's from fucking Waterloo, 347 Aiden. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's massive, bro. He's
for real from Waterloo.
21 years old. He was just on tour in the States doing like 1,000, 2,000 cap venues. He's about to hit Europe right now.
Jesus.
He's destroying shit.
You know what I mean? This Oka somehow pops up TikTok, right? And they go off like not even.
Yeah.
Because I sort of try to feel the pulse around here, see what artists they're doing, what, you know what I mean? And I've never heard of this guy, and then he's back in venues all over the place, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that can happen too, is people can blow up overnight, or not even just overnight, but after a process blow up and you don't even know who they are or whatever, recognize their name, and they're fucking crushing it, you know what I mean? So and there's a lot of artists in Dom Valley. He's another artist from Waterloo right now. Shout out to him. He's really doing his thing right now. A bunch of those kids, his whole clique of all the guys that they run with, they're all fucking doing their thing. Shout out to all of them. Yeah, so it's possible. Everybody, and there's the music is great. Everyone's got a chance in a lane to get in there and make music and crush it. So
I've just seen some record execs saying that right now is the time where right now there's the most amount of people that make money off music ever.
I believe that.
in recorded time, there's the most amount of artists that are making money off music.
I could believe that for sure.
I guess because of
Well, like
internet and
Robbie was
everything.
even saying, right? Like you don't even need million plus views per video these days for him to go have a tour, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it once was where especially back before digital. I mean, fuck, the record company has to put into actually physical copies of everything, all the artwork on every insert. Anyone can go make, not anyone, but there's a lot more opportunity for anyone to go make money off music these days. So I think that would be a true statement.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, guys, I
was just gonna say, let's let you get out of here.
Is there anything else you would like to plug in?
Yeah,
announce?
plug everything, my friend.
Just the tour, you know, if you're watching this and you're enjoying the content, check me out on the road. I'm going to be across the country here, and you know, RobbieGHipHop.com is my website, ROBBIEG hiphop.com. Check it out. Check out my music. I got lots of music on YouTube, all that stuff. So new music's always coming. I got tons of new songs that I've been recording over the winter and going to be releasing soon, and always dropping new content. So yeah, just stay following the grind, and I'm going to keep working and keep on putting stuff out and trying to do what I can to elevate the hip hop community and create opportunities for other artists, and get my music out there and try and change some people's lives in a better way.
Right on.
Light at the end of the tunnel, everybody.
Yeah. You want to plug your shit? Kirill's got things going on this weekend.
We'll be there. Light at the end of the tunnel, Guelph, on the 23rd.
Yes.
We'll be bringing
Saturday.
some people with us too.
We got Kirill, Robbie G, and the other openers. We got Substantial as a special guest. The other openers are Gavin Breen and Chaser. And is that it? Or Manatee? Manatee. I knew I was missing one. All right, man. Robbie, we will see you this Saturday. Thanks a lot for joining us. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate taking some time out. I know you're busy as hell. We will let you get out of here now. For Robbie G, Amy Barton, who's not here, Kirill Kasatskiy, I'm Jay Kelly of Spilling Downtown. We out. Peace.
Thanks a lot, bro.
Thanks, Robbie.
Building downtown.